Okay, so let's move on to the next story. So our next story goes from um, we were just talking about Shazam 2, and this is about a film that is going to be coming up. And this is going to be, I think it's going to be a film that everybody's looking forward to. And so, and that is um, Killers of the Flower Moon. I think this was a film that was long awaited. Apple TV has now hit their stride with not only their television shows and like what they have. Um, let's here's the reason why this is prevalent. Okay, so Martin Scorsese, according to Variety, so the piece goes that Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon is eyeing a Cannes Film Festival debut. So Martin Scorsese's Killer of the Flower Moon, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, is eyeing a world premiere at the Cannes Film Festival, potentially giving the annual celebration of cinema to one of the glitziest red carpet bows in its 8-decade history. The Apple TV movie, which was pursued by both Venice and Cannes toppers, may ultimately be unveiled in the south of France. Of course, there could still be a last minute change of plans by the time the lineup is unveiled in April. But it looks promising enough that Scorsese has reserved a suite at one of the posh hotels along along the river, sources tell Variety. So, Khan's director is preparing a massive 2023 edition and traveled to Los Angeles earlier in the month to screen Scorsese's movie and discuss other potential Hollywood titles. Alberto Barbera, Venice's artistic director, was in town at the same time taking meetings with studio bosses, which led to an awkward situation even though they didn't bump into each other, an industry insider said. Sources caution, however, that no formal offer has been made from Cannes, and there is no final decision about whether Scorsese and company will embark on a transatlantic promotion journey in France in May, or to France in May. One of the aspects rumored to be weighing in front of a Cannes rollout was DiCaprio's desire to return to the festival, where he had a banner experience presenting Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in 2019. The movie turned out to be a box office hit, garnering 10 Academy Award nominations and earning Brad Pitt a Best Supporting nod, which, by the way, he won for that. Killers of the Flower Moon, a nearly $200 million Western with DiCaprio, Lily Gladstone, Jesse Plemons, Brendan Fraser, and Robert De Niro, would mark Scorsese's first return to Cannes with a film since 1985. That year, he won Best Director, the Palme, for After Hours. Scorsese has a long standing bond with the French Riviera Festival. Before presiding over the jury in 1998, Scorsese presented some of his most iconic early films in Cannes, notably Taxi Driver, which won the d'Or in 1976, and The King of Comedy, both highlighted by De Niro. Having Scorsese and De Niro back on the Cannes red carpet together for a movie would be a significant achievement. Who battled Netflix to premiere The Irishman there in 2019. The film eventually bowed at New York Film Festival, which then was run by Kent Jones, a close associate of the director. Jones started his career as an activist for the Oscar winner and has worked on several of his documentaries since. Apple financed Killers of the Flower Moon after winning an auction for the movie, which had been originally optioned by Paramount. Under the deal, Paramount will be giving the film a wide theatrical release before it launches on the service. But the movie's fate in France hasn't been sealed. France's windowing, or the way it's showing, restricts streamers from playing from restricts streamers like Apple TV, Netflix from playing until 15 months after they've been released in theaters. Will Apple be willing to hold back the movie's launch on a service for 15 months? If Apple decides to skip the French theatrical premiere, like Disney did with Strange World because of the windowing rule, Killers of the Flower Moon would be allowed only be allowed to play out of competition at Cannes. The French festival has a rule that every film in competition has to be released in French cinemas. There is a slight chance that Cannes, who has a new president, would bend the rules that caused the fest to miss out on the major Netflix movie since 2017. And it goes on to say that in case Paramount and Apple have not announced a release date for Killers of the Flower Moon or France or anywhere else, according to ComScore, that could push the film's premiere later if a con's debut seemed too far ahead or planned the theatrical opening. There are often debates about the wisdom of premiering award season movies at cons because some strategists believe it's too early to generate that kind of excitement needed to sustain an Oscar push. However, cons has hosted such films as Parasite, which won Best Picture, and current nominees Triangle of Sadness, Top Gun Maverick, and Elvis, which saw their profiles rise. And then it'll go on to say that what it's based off of. So, Killers of the Flower Moon is based off David Grann's nonfiction book and tracks the investigation of serial murders that plagued the Osage Nation during the 1920s after oil was discovered on their land. The murders prompted the newly formed FBI to investigate. The movie was produced by Dan Franklin and Bradley Thomas at Imperative. And then Cons is May 16th to the 27th. So, okay, couple things to say. Number one, I think that I think it's interesting that he wants to get it out now. Not now, but in May. Um, I hope, that this is good just because of the cast, but we've all seen casts that have had relatively great casts, you think, and then the movie flops. Um, so that being said, I think that it's one of those things where this is definitely going to be one of the most anticipated movies of the year. Okay, that goes without saying. I think that when you have a cast like that and you have a director like a Martin Scorsese who's worked with arguably two of his muses for 45 years, DiCaprio and De Niro, it's one of those things where you're like, how could this go wrong, right? Um, I'm definitely looking forward to this. I'm absolutely looking forward to this, and I think that this is going to be a movie that is going to do really well. Now, here's the catch, and this goes back to the article. Okay, there is that rule that Apple that you have to wait 15 months. So the question then becomes, does Apple actually wait 15 months to put this on their streamer? And by the way, it has to play in French theaters. Okay, that those are the rules of the film festival. Or do they just say, yeah, no big deal and move on? I don't know because I mean Scorsese is, he's one of those guys that he likes to work and he likes to get his stuff out there. I just can't see waiting 15 months. I just can't. Now, on the flip side of the coin, okay, you have um you have a um I mean, there's two sides to it. Okay, here's the thing. You have movies like Top Gun Maverick, Elvis and Triangle of Sadness that actually have done well. Okay. And Top Gun is up for Best Picture, and so Elvis is up for Best Picture. And it looks like for all intentions, it looks like Austin Butler is going to win Best Actor. Um, I gotta believe, I gotta believe that they're going to want to get this out there, and with such a big cast too, Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. I mean, how can you go wrong? Um, but waiting 15 months, that's going to be the key thing. Um, and the other thing too is how long do they keep in the theaters for? Don't forget, I mean, just last year we had Glass Onion, and Glass Onion was one of those things that the theaters were saying, bring it back in, bring it back in. We want more because it made $16 million. And Netflix is like, nah, no big deal. So I'll be curious to see how long they keep it in theaters for. Um, but I'm looking forward to this movie just for the simple premise. It is, as I said before, it is Martin Scorsese, it is Leonardo DiCaprio, and it is Robert De Niro. Three of the best actors. I mean, you have two, a generational thing here. I mean, De Niro, DiCaprio, and Scorsese. So I like it. I mean, I hope they release it at Cannes. I can understand why they wouldn't, and you know. So let me ask you guys this: what do you guys think? Do you think that they're going to go to Cannes Film Festival and release it? Do you think they should wait to release it? Are you excited for this? Did you even know that Martin Scorsese was making another picture? Leave your thoughts down in the comments section and I'll get back to you.